Oil has been known to humankind for millennia. Ancient civilizations, with their limited understanding of chemistry, found various uses for this strange, sticky substance. The ancient Sumerians and Akkadians as far back as 6000 BC used naturally occurring bitumen, a thick form of petroleum, for waterproofing their boats and homes. In ancient Egypt, oil extracted from tar pits was used in construction and mummification. The Egyptians believed that preserving the body was essential for the afterlife, and they found that bitumen's preservative properties made it ideal for embalming. The Chinese during the Han Dynasty were perhaps the first to discover underground oil deposits. They used bamboo pipelines to transport this rock oil and burned it for heat and light. The Romans, known for their engineering prowess, used oil for various purposes. They utilized it as a fuel for lamps, a lubricant for chariot axles, and even as a weapon in naval battles, where they would set enemy ships ablaze with flaming projectiles coated in oil. These early uses, though ingenious, were but a prelude to the profound impact oil would have on human civilization. The mid-19th century witnessed a pivotal moment in history, the birth of the modern oil industry. Edwin Drake's successful drilling for oil in Pennsylvania in 1859 marked a turning point. No longer reliant on surface seepage and tar pits, humans could now tap into vast, previously inaccessible underground reservoirs of this energy-rich substance. Drake's discovery ignited a black gold rush, as prospectors and entrepreneurs raced to Pennsylvania and other oil-rich regions eager to strike it rich. Oil production soared, and with it came the need for refining, transportation, and new applications for this versatile fuel. Kerosene, a refined product of oil, emerged as a popular alternative to whale oil for lighting, fueling the growing demand for oil even further. The invention of the internal combustion engine in the late 19th century marked another significant milestone. This revolutionary engine, with its insatiable appetite for gasoline, another product derived from oil, would forever change the course of transportation and human history. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw the rise of oil magnates and colossal companies that would dominate the industry for decades to come. Among them, John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil Company stood as a behemoth, controlling nearly 90% of U.S. oil production and refining at its peak. Standard Oil's success stemmed from Rockefeller's ruthless business acumen. He employed aggressive tactics, such as undercutting competitors and forging exclusive deals with railroads to gain control of the market. His company's near monopoly drew criticism and scrutiny, leading to its eventual breakup by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1911. Despite its dismantling, Standard Oil's legacy lived on. Its fragmented parts gave rise to companies like Exxon, Mobil, and Chevron, which would become major players in the global oil industry. In Europe, Royal Dutch Shell, formed through a merger of Dutch and British companies, and British Petroleum, BP, emerged as formidable competitors, further solidifying oil's role as a global commodity. The strategic importance of oil became increasingly evident during the 20th century, particularly in the two world wars. Nations recognized that securing access to oil, this vital fuel for their military machines, was crucial for victory. Germany, lacking significant domestic oil reserves, heavily relied on synthetic oil production from coal during World War I, and later sought to capture oil-rich regions like the Caucasus during World War II. The Allies, aware of oil's strategic importance, targeted German synthetic oil plants and Romanian oil fields, crippling their enemies' ability to wage war. The United States, with its vast oil reserves, played a crucial role in supplying the Allied forces, further highlighting the geopolitical significance of oil. The dependence on oil extended beyond fueling tanks, ships, and airplanes. It also fueled the production of explosives, fertilizers, and other materials essential for the war effort. The World Wars underscored the deep connection between oil and global power dynamics, a relationship that would continue to shape international relations for decades to come. Section 5. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, Power Shift and Control. The post-World War II era witnessed a dramatic shift in the global oil landscape. You see, the formation of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, in 1960, marked a turning point in the balance of power within the industry. Comprising primarily Middle Eastern and South American nations, OPEC aimed to coordinate and unify the petroleum policies of its member countries and ensure the stabilization of oil markets. The organization sought to protect the interests of oil-producing nations, which had long felt exploited by Western oil companies. OPEC's formation signaled a new era where oil-producing nations, rather than multinational corporations, sought to exert greater control over their resources and dictate the terms of global oil trade. This power shift would have profound geopolitical and economic consequences, as demonstrated by the oil crises of the 1970s. Section 6. Oil shocks, the world, crises and consequences. The 1970s witnessed two major oil crises that sent shockwaves through the global economy. The first crisis, in 1973, erupted when OPEC imposed an oil embargo on countries that had supported Israel in the Yom Kippur War. Oil prices quadrupled virtually overnight, leading to fuel shortages, economic recessions, and a widespread energy crisis. The second crisis, in 1979, was triggered by the Iranian Revolution and the subsequent drop in Iranian oil production. The crisis, though shorter-lived than the first, further exacerbated economic woes and highlighted the world's dependence on this finite resource. The oil crises of the 1970s had far-reaching consequences. They led to greater energy efficiency measures, spurred the development of alternative energy sources, and fundamentally altered global energy policies. The crises demonstrated the vulnerability of industrialized nations to disruptions in oil supply and the immense geopolitical power wielded by oil-producing countries. Section 7. Modern oil technology, innovation, and environmental challenges. Despite growing concerns about climate change and the finite nature of fossil fuels, oil remains a cornerstone of the global economy. Technological advancements have led to new and more efficient methods of oil extraction, such as hydraulic fracturing or fracking, and offshore drilling in ever deeper waters, unlocking previously inaccessible reserves. These advancements, while boosting global oil production, have also raised environmental concerns. Fracking, in particular, has been linked to groundwater contamination and increased seismic activity. Offshore drilling accidents, such as the Deepwater Horizon disaster in 2010, underscore the potential environmental risks associated with extracting oil from challenging environments. As the world grapples with the consequences of climate change, the oil industry faces increasing pressure to reduce its environmental footprint. Carbon capture and storage technologies, along with a greater emphasis on renewable energy sources, are being explored as potential solutions to mitigate the environmental impact of our continued reliance on oil. Section 8. The price of progress. Oil's lasting impact on the environment. The extraction, refining, and combustion of oil have had a profound impact on the environment. Air pollution from oil refineries and vehicle emissions contributes to respiratory problems, smog, and acid rain. Oil spills, whether from tankers or offshore platforms, can devastate marine ecosystems, causing long-term damage to wildlife and coastal habitats. The burning of fossil fuels, including oil, releases greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, trapping heat and contributing to global warming. The resulting climate change poses significant risks to human societies and natural ecosystems, including rising sea levels, more frequent and intense heat waves, and disruptions to weather patterns. Addressing the environmental consequences of our dependence on oil is one of the most pressing challenges of our time. Transitioning to cleaner and more sustainable energy sources is essential for mitigating climate change and preserving a habitable planet for future generations. Section 9. The future of energy, beyond the age of oil. The age of oil, though far from over, is undoubtedly approaching its twilight. As the world transitions towards a more sustainable energy future, the role of oil is likely to diminish. Renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydropower are rapidly becoming more efficient and cost-competitive with fossil fuels. Electric vehicles, powered by renewable energy sources, offer a cleaner alternative to gasoline-powered cars, further reducing our reliance on oil. Advancements in battery technology and the expansion of charging infrastructure are accelerating the adoption of electric vehicles, signaling a potential shift in the transportation sector. While the transition away from oil will take time and require significant investment in new technologies and infrastructure, it is a necessary step towards a more sustainable future. The legacy of oil, with its profound impact on human civilization and the environment, will continue to shape our world for generations to come, serving as a reminder of the need for responsible stewardship of our planet's resources.